But earlier we lost playing for 5-0 with blue-red dragons against Dimir control, which seemed like a poor matchup. Probably have to play our mana dork this turn. Do we think that they're Ponza? I think the cost of playing around them being Ponza is just not very high here. Because I think the Hierarch is likely to live if they're green-white, and if they're Ponza, getting the forest is pretty good. Ponza's like one of Renin 6. Destroying us. You missed the option for a donation deck list. If you !dono, you can find it again. I was hoping to draw a white source. Tracker and Ponza is kind of old school. When I used to play a bunch of Ponza, I used to play Tracker. Do another Arbor Elf? Yikes. Really wanted to Omphanize. I mean, our draw was really good, but their draws lined up well against ours. Well, I think that isn't the Mary option set at 2 million? I think it is. I do think, fair warning, I'm probably just not gonna. I probably will not leave the million channel point option up forever, but I'll definitely resolve a few once they start rolling in. But I think that I do anticipate the joke becoming less and less funny as time goes on. So just fair warning. Fair warning. 2,000,001. Oh, did I actually? Yeah, I think I added. Did I actually add the 1? I remember thinking I was gonna do that and then joke if anybody noticed about inflation, but you might be the first person to notice. Yeah, I'm not sure how much standard I'm gonna play. I'll probably play a league on Magic Online, unless the queues are really long. I'll play just a few matches. Am I a Tiger Woods fan? Is this just like a polygamy joke? So I'm not really a fan, though. Borrower maybe gets to attack and kill Renin 6 if we're really lucky. I did, awesome. Cool. Yeah, I remember, yeah, I was just going to say there hasn't been inflation. Adjusting for inflation. Yeah. And as far as like the marriage thing goes, I'm just gonna let one redemption happen, and then probably just give a custom badge to whoever gets it. Is what I'm thinking. Tiger got hurt 2 hours ago. Oh no, that's a bummer. Always sad when a great athlete, has to hang up their golf clubs. But I'm not very invested in golf. Big news, though. Would it be better to enchant the islands so they don't take you off white? Yeah, I guess so. Would have been better. I don't know how many pillages they play in the main deck, but probably some. What was the result of the first league with the deck? We went 5-0. 5-0. Honestly, kind of want to play some old school Ponza with Tracker. It just seems pretty bad against the Swiftspear decks. But there was a time where I wasn't really playing much Magic, but Ponza was really well positioned on Magic Online, so I would just grind a bunch of leagues while I was watching TV in the background, and I usually make a few $100 a month just doing that. Is Queller new? No, I've always played Queller in the Squirrelblade version. I just like the body to go with Toski, I think is pretty important. Yeah, but you do get to play Tracker, and Renin 6 is pretty good. Opponent is taking their time. I don't know why you'd ever play Tracker when Toski is legal, though. Is Toski good in Ponza? Might be. Toski might actually just be great in Ponza. You probably would have to play like Elvish Mystic over Birds of Paradise if you play any birds. Can you actually make decent money grinding MTGO? You could back when I did it. Or I still make some money now, but you know, I used to like pretty consistently make like $600-700 just grinding Magic Online before they combined the competitive and casual leagues, and back when tickets were worth like 98 cents or something like that, 97, pretty consistently. But that's just not the world we live in anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna try to Borrower this Remand 6. I know we're taking a lot of damage, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, $700 a month. So not like crazy money, but definitely just like in addition to also working a day job, was pretty nice. Sorry, I forgot to quantify. So we can play Toski, which is probably fine. We could play Ice-Fang, looking for another green source, and going Ice-Fang onto Nice is probably great. Into Toski next turn. We could also, if we draw a land that's not green, hold up Queller, which is maybe better anyways. So I think the upside here is good. We just get to cast a second onto Nice at the bare minimum. I'm doing well, Lost Willow. How are you doing? So yeah, a bit of a bummer. I think this was fine though. Any Kaldheim cards looking to be staples in Modern? I think Toski is great. Yeah, Snow Duels for sure. Invasion of the Giants looked really sweet for a while. Valky is definitely a stock and bring to light decks. It's a good question. Half of the people who read Kazuma think that the card is broken. I think half of the people who read Kazuma think that the card is unplayable. So kind of a bit of a weird spot. Chandra. Well, if they minus Chandra, my other creature can kill Chandra. Do you think Toski has any legs in non-blade decks? Yeah, I do. I actually think Toski's maybe just nuts in Ponza, to be honest. Squirrel pun aside. Stomp my Borrower. Rude. Yeah, also the people who have read Cosmo 100 times and still don't know what it does. Yeah, I did forget about them. Have I seen Harry's Blue Moon deck with Behold? I have seen it. We played kind of a similar deck today that's playing a little bit more in on the dragon theme, playing Silumgar Scored and Sprite Dragon, which I like. And I just don't like Blood Moon in the main deck of your Blue Moon decks right now. Just like it's a Monastery Swiftspear metagame. Just doesn't really feel like you have the luxury. I think I'm taking one. Well, Nikki, I do take a look at deck text for 20,000 channel points or $5. I hate to be a broken record for everybody, but I would love to look at everybody's deck list. The problem is it just kind of dominates the stream too much. If I do, I think we're gonna Toski attack them. I know this is like a bit risky. I really want to draw a green or a white and just resolve either of these spells here. And Toski is, you know, very powerful. What do I think of Kazuma? I think the card is okay, but just like competes with Jace the Mind Sculptor, Teferi Hero of Dominaria, Toski, Shark Typhoon, as far as your grindy card advantage engines. Yeah, I'll just play the Hierarch since I don't want to shock here. I think it just competes with too much for it to be your card advantage engine of choice in your control deck. And is also maybe just a bit win more. I think that one card I'm interested in pairing Kazuma with is Rin 6, just so you make sure you always have your land drops. But I haven't cracked the code yet. I have not cracked the code on Kazuma. If you sub, is it okay to? Sure. Deal. The Dragons was good. We lost playing for 5-0 against Dimir Control. Seemed like a bad matchup. The Shark Typhoons were tough. Can we test a Cosm in this deck? I don't really want to, but maybe someone else can and tell me if it's good. So we can eat an Arbor Elf and then chump block Bone Crusher, which I think is good so I don't just die to a Lightning Bolt. Nikki Wonka, thank you for your tier 1 subscription. Hope you're having a good day today. And if you want to repost your link in chat so I don't have to scroll up, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, Chandra's going to be tough to beat. Might have to draw Stoneforge Mystic. Hopefully this is just Blood Moon. Not just Blood Moon. Discarding Chandra and Arbor Elf. Wow. Then they crack a Clue token. Then they play a land. Yeah, I think we need to draw Stoneforge Mystic. Or Batterskull. What's our end game with this deck? I mean, we just have a bunch of creatures that attack. And then eventually they'll attack your opponent and their life total will be less than 0. Or equal to 0. Alright, so Nikki's Bant Stoneblade deck. I mean, I will say that I'm probably just going to recommend my list. But let me take a look at your version. One thing is, I really prefer main deck Onthanice because I think Mana Leak and Path to Exile play poorly. And Onthanice is better against the Swift Spear decks right now than Path to Exile is, which is another reason why I've chosen to do that. And Onthanice has synergies with Ice-Fang. And so, like, for those reasons, I want to play Onthanice over Path, and I don't want to play Snapcaster. I mean, even Snapcaster in this deck only has 11 spells to flashback, which is definitely on the low end. I know you're only playing 2 copies, but I think it's just probably going to be better to not include it. Stoneforge Mystic or Batterskull off the top. Okay. That was on my wish list. Might just still be dead on board, actually. But if we hit like second basic planes, Castle Ardenvale or Noble Hierarch, I think we're not dead on board. Staying alive. Can't shock here because of Chandra. Block, block, block. Oh no. Block, block, block. Yeah, still dead. Sorry. I see that you're also playing Onthanice. I mean, I also think 4/1 mana removal spells in the main is a bit too many. I did miss this in my glance over. But yeah, I think 4/1 mana removal spells is a bit much. I am just going to recommend you my list because I think my list is the best way to build it. I'm just giving you, I guess, my reasons why. I'm not a big fan of Waterlog Grove because there's a million Monastery Swift Spears. I don't know why. Oh, you just have the different versions that you have, I guess. I kind of like the first Windswept Heath over the Vista. And then I know that you do have Snapcasters in the deck. And so I do think Snapcaster is better than Aethergust, or better with Aethergust. But I also am pretty high on Damping Sphere because your Tron matchup is really bad. And so you need to either play, I guess you have Disdainful Strokes, but I would probably try to play Tails End over Disdainful Stroke potentially Ceremonious Rejection. But what I've been doing is, as you can see, 3 copies of Damping Sphere, which is really good against both Tron and Amulet Titan. I do kind of like the Pithing Needle too. So those are my thoughts on your version. Alright, playing against Ponza, Gargaroth is great. Champion is good too, I think. Good, not great, probably. Path better than Onthanice, I think, in this matchup. I'd still play 1. Probably want 3-ish Force of Negations. Thanks, Nikki. Auriok Champion is pretty hard to cast if they Blood Moon us. And they can just ignore it with their green threats. I guess I'll play an Auriok Champion over a Jace. I usually dislike Jace in these matchups. Submit this. Never thought to keep track of the matchups you play in leagues. I mean, I've definitely thought about it. I just play so much, and it takes. I've done it in the past, and I find it to be very tedious and not very helpful because Modern evolves so quickly. You know what I mean? Where keeping track of your matchups in a format like Modern that changes very, very quickly doesn't help a lot because people are constantly, the metas are shifting, people are adopting new tech, and you're changing the deck list too. And I've always been more of an intuitive player than a analytical player anyways. I like this hand a lot. Teferi's really good against Ponza, surprisingly. A lot of their stuff is vulnerable to the bounce, like Klothys and Blood Moon. The static ability cuts off Bloodbraid Elf. EE isn't awful. Yeah, I mean, EE is better against Ponza if you don't also have like 1 and 3 drops. You don't know what the Damping Matrix is for? I had Damping Matrix on the sideboard of the Heliod deck to beat... sideboard of the Blue-Red Dragons deck to beat Heliod. What are my thoughts on the creature-light versions of Stoneblade? I think the blue-white ones are pretty good. I've often played a lot of those. Don't mind those decks. Opponent's been playing so slowly. They might be double queuing, or obviously we could just play a guessing game as to what they're doing. Do you say if a sticker list for the near future, 1-2 years, you'll be Gucci? I mean, I don't think that you want to stick to this exact 75 for the next year or two, but I do think like this general shell with I think Toski is going to be good in this archetype for the foreseeable future. I think Toski is really, really good. I don't really see it getting worse. So yeah, I think something similar to this, adjusting your sideboard for how the meta changes, will be good. Has EE Onthanized Tension been concerning? A little bit. I think it's not that big a deal. Just because you have control over EE plus Onthanized. But it's possible I'm wrong, and it is a big deal. I don't think Cindervines really matters that much. We just bounce it with Teferi and then force it on the way down if we want to. If the deck becomes popular, what's the plan for the mirror? Probably just play tight. You know what I mean? This is probably not the kind of matchup where it's going to be good to have some crazy mirror breaker. I doubt this deck is going to be that popular, and if it is, we'll try to figure it out. But I think just playing tight and being experienced in the matchup will ultimately be what makes you win. Also, of course, always nice to get Teferi down before a possible Bloodbraid Elf. I guess I should also attack first, because if they have Lightning Bolt, they might bolt my Ice-Fang. Yeah, I played Skyclave Apparition in the past, and I really felt like the double white was very taxing on the mana. That card is really, really good, but I lost a lot of games because just double white was tricky with the blue-green for Ice-Fang early. But not playing Cryptic, not playing Skyclave, I do think helps your mana. And I think the Bant Ephemerate mana works because you're not trying to like play Hierarch on turn 1 that often. And I know Hierarch does fix your mana, but Hierarch also dies all the time. Kind of nice that we don't even need to counter a Boil here. Don't need to worry about Bloodbraid very much. Not really worried about almost anything. Teferi also shuts off Chandra's +1. Something else to think about. How big was Stoneforge Mystics get to have to play a sideboard Manriki Gusari? I played a sideboard Manriki right when Stoneforge Mystic got unbanned because I thought the mirrors would be absolutely everywhere. I think this is fine. But they'd have to be really popular to answer your question. So I would be interested in hitting them with that Sword of Feast and Famine next turn. Cindervines may make that difficult, so maybe we should just plus the Teferi here. Could you take gameplay I've done against Fran and combine it with Fran's video to see it in both hands and then put it on YouTube? I probably wouldn't upload it to YouTube because, I don't know. I really like the deal I have with my editor where he handles everything and I just don't have to think about it. Maybe Fran would want to put it up on YouTube though, but I don't think I would. So notably, they can't sacrifice their Cindervines. I think I'm just going to start off by casting Sword of Feast and Famine. Take the damage. But I want to take the damage here first. That way I can post-combat path the Klothys, then bounce the Cindervines. And am I a mana short of also having a Stoneforge Mystic up? I am a mana short of doing that. Or sorry, casting Stoneforge Mystic, not having it up. Cheese, 6 months in a row, welcome back. If Teferi gets banned, what would I put in it? Don't worry about it. Well, there's not going to be bans in Modern for a long time. It's like, it's entirely, you know, who knows if I'll even be playing this deck if Teferi gets banned. And you just have a million options to you. Oh, I do have enough mana. I miscounted. I think we're getting Batterskull. Just playing equipping next turn. I think Sword of Feast and Famine is also lethal. Sort of Fire and Ice, rather. Yeah, let's get Fire and Ice and maybe just chump block the Bone Crusher with Stoneforge. I will say that Teferi does keep some fun around against Veil of Summer. Veil of Summer would be much, much better without Teferi Time Raveler. So they need to draw bolts and then have me chump block their Bone Crusher Giant with Stoneforge Mystic and then bolt my Ice-Fang to not die. Didn't cast Veil first. Maybe they were supposed to. Kind of hard to tell. Do I want the third Force of Negation on the draw? I think I do. What do I want to cut? Maybe the Remand? Remand's a bit worse on the draw. Yeah, when does Modern Horizons 2 come out? I forgot that was something that is going to happen. Yeah, I honestly I'm so talked out of ban talk. Just for months and months, it just got so dominated on this channel, and I get it. There's definitely a lot to talk about, but it's just way too early to say anything about bans. Are you crazy to put Bant Charm in your bans list? I like Bant Charm. I mean, I should probably say I think Bant Charm is cool. I don't know if I should say I like Bant Charm. What are we going to name this deck when Toski gets banned? That's true. That is a big conversation right now, Toski getting banned. I think I'm pitching Queller. I mean, this is like bad against exactly another copy of Rin, I think. But Teferi I just find to be so good against Ponza. Your LGS told you end of August. Plenty of time. Yeah, just Klothys Blood Moon so bad against Teferi. Love to draw a land. Or a Toski. Do we Ice-Fang looking for another land? I think that we do. The upside is so high to hit it. We want to hit it anyways because of the Toski, right? Missed. Bounce Sprawl there. I mean, if they need a mana, they can get it off of Klothys. I think it'd be bad to bounce the Sprawl. Cindervines. Their hand is Klothys, 2 mystery cards. Is this double Cindervines? Second Wrenn and 6. They are playing multiple Wrenn and 6. They killed my Hierarch. Feels terrible. Drew the land a little too late. Well, playing the Stoneforge Mystic against the Cindervines doesn't seem that good. I think I'm just holding up Mana Leak. No bounce Sprawl to play around second Wrenn. A bouncing Sprawl, for again, doesn't play the second Wrenn because there's a Windswept Heath in my graveyard. If my opponent needs the red mana, they can have it with the Klothys. Klothys can make mana. They don't get their Cascade. We get to Mana Leak this. Probably bouncing the Cindervines with Teferi. We'll see what we draw. I mean, I'll do that if I don't draw a land. If I do draw a land, I probably will just plus and attack them with Ice-Fang. Still missing on the lands. Unfortunate. I think I'm holding up Mana Leak still. We can Mana Leak either the Cindervines or the Klothys. You mean on the turn I played Teferi? The turn I played Teferi, I bounced Klothys. Please, somebody tell me how bouncing Sprawl plays around anything instead of bouncing Klothys. If you hit land, yeah. Please, please, please. We've been waiting so long. Unfortunate. So am I going to play Stoneforge Mystic instead of holding up Borrower? If they play, when they play Cindervines, their Klothys is turned on. We'd also just cast Borrower and kill Wrenn and 6. Didn't spike plus the Teferi the turn I played him. I plussed. Oh, I see. I mean, I think it even worked out better for me. Well, let's stop talking about this. But I think you're right. But then I got to bounce the Klothys. You're right, I did plus. Fair enough. Okay. Let's move on. Yeah, I think we need to hope that they have bricked a bit. They have not bricked. Right, I think we're still killing the Wrenn with with Borrower, and if we draw a land, we get to kill Wrenn, have Toski to block Klothys or Tracker, draw a card. Okay, well, I'm going to go Teferi, bounce Tracker, kill Wrenn and 6, and then Klothys shouldn't be devoted next turn unless they draw something else, of course. How many looks at a land has this been? I mean, they did kill my Hierarch. I did counter their pillage. Probably too little too late. Maybe I'm supposed to bounce Klothys there, actually. Why no bounce Topia Sprawl? Should have bounced the Sprawl. Would have won the game very easily. Yeah, maybe the line was to bounce the Klothys. Tough stuff. Obviously. I think I'll keep this on the draw. It's obviously like way too many lands, but Some good early interaction. Yeah, she's been asking to go OUT in the middle of the stream recently, which is bad. You often see my opponents with very little time. Do you think people play slow in MTGO, or I play faster than maybe I should? I play pretty quickly. Maybe too quickly. But I do think me playing quickly is one of my strengths as a streamer. For whatever that's worth. Did she like the snow? Kind of hard to tell. She didn't dislike it, but she didn't seem crazy about it. Verdant Catacombs, Overgrown Tomb, Birds of Paradise. I think I will Antonice the birds, but I'm not 100% sure what's going on. Yeah, Yawgmoth combo seems likely. We 5-0'd the previous league pan. Maybe I'm supposed to fetch a forest here just to thin a bit. Well, drawing spell is so good. Jund with Birds of Paradise. Probably a Jund Yawgmoth deck, if I have to guess. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I feel like you don't usually want to play Traverse in Yawgmoth. I think I'm gonna just play Teferi and plus. Yeah, just running back the same 75. I'm pretty happy with the 75 at the moment. Getting kind of close to, I think, being able to release a sideboard guide. It's been kind of tough to like work on any sideboard guides while the metagame is still adjusting. It's a good draw. The combo of Teferi plus Spell Queller assembled. The perfect 2-card combo that makes every deck better. How do we deal with green-white Heliod? So we now have a main deck Jace, so if they gain infinite life, we just have outs. Which is actually, I think, just makes the matchup pretty even to maybe even favorable for us. Like, Spell Queller is pretty good against Heliod too. Stoneforge Mystic can be good. Well, I've got no idea what my opponent's doing. So I think I'm getting sort of Feast and Famine to gain an idea for the next game. Do you think the meta is settling? Yes, a little bit. At least right now, I'm starting to get a good feel for it. Where there seem to be red Swiftspear decks, Scourge, blue-red Prowess, some mono-red variants, Burn. There seems to be green-white Heliod to be a mid-range deck that is great against those. There seem to be control decks that are trying to take advantage of those two decks being on top of the format. And then there are big mana decks as well that are trying to hedge against the aggro decks while being good against green-white Heliod, and you know, to kind of take advantage of like the controlling mid-range decks as well. And so that's kind of seems to be what the meta game is like. What on earth are we doing as far as sideboarding goes? We saw Birds of Paradise, Traverse the Uvenwald, and nothing else. Is this Soul Flayer? Is this Soul Flayer that we're playing against? Can maybe just not sideboard and win pretty easily. You know, my opponent's playing Jund colors. Maybe I'll just play these Veils. Traverse Shadow. I mean, does Traverse Shadow with Birds of Paradise? Ashiok does stop Traverse. I think it's Soul Flayer, but like, what? Why would you splash red in Yawgmoth's combo? Like, you get like Judith sideboard cards. They just like aren't like really good things to splash red for in Yawgmoth. I don't get it. But like, Birds of Paradise, but I also wouldn't play Traverse in Yawgmoth basically ever. Yeah, I could be Soul Flayer. I mean, we saw like a million fetch lands in Traverse. I guess I'll play these. I'll trim an Antonice and the Jace. Could it be bad goblins? I mean, goblins with traverse. I mean, I have seen people just try to play Snoop and Harbinger. I don't know. I think it's fine to just say I don't know. And because Ashiok is the best sideboard card to bring in every matchup, we'll just bring it in. It is Soul Flare. Oh my gosh. Can't believe I was able to guess. Kind of awesome. I think I'm getting Batterskull here. Why no timely reinforcements in the sideboard? I'm playing Auriok Champion and Elder Gargaroth and where that card may go, and I think that Auriok Champion and Gargaroth are better. Another copy of Gather the Pack, this time finding Samut, Soulflare, Questing Beast, and they can actually put 2 of these into their hand. Do you think Squirrelblade is the best Stoneblade variant? I do, yes. They put Soulflare into their hand, so they don't have hexproof, right? I don't see a hexproof in the graveyard. So they can hit us for a bunch, but we just have Teferis to bounce. Why no Ojutai's command in the 75? Why no chat just message why no your favorite card in this deck? So everybody put your favorite Bant card that's not in this deck and type why no pet card in the chat right now, please. No, Ghost, we were on opposite wavelengths here. Ghost enabled emote only. Please, I want to see everybody's favorite cards. There we go. Thank you. There you go. They discard Sylvan Caryatid. And Drugskull Reaper. Oh, no. Okay, so we're getting smacked next turn. Do they have Vigilance? Okay, never mind. We win. We have Toski. Do they have Vigilance somehow? Questing Beast, yeah. Do they have Indestructible? Because I don't think they have Indestructible. So we can equip the Batterskull onto Toski. Death Touch, Double Strike, Flying, Haste, Hexproof, Lifelink, Vigilance. Easy to beat. I think. I'm not sure that we can actually beat it. Maybe we can with sort of Feast and Famine, moving it onto Ice-Fang to block and blank the Lifelink. Yeah, so it's an interesting draw too. Yeah, so we can kind of stay close to parity here. We can gain 5 life right now, although they get to eat the Germ token, but then we get to move the Germ onto Toski, and my opponent can no longer block. And then we're gaining 5 and drawing a card until we find the Sword of Feast and Famine. Does it have Trample? Does not have Trample. But yeah, I think if we can find Sword of Feast and Famine, we can win this. Flare is flying. Yeah. I mean, moving Sword of Feast and Famine onto Ice-Fang, like post, like a second main to like blank the lifelink that they have. Because with them gaining 8 a turn, it's I don't think we can actually race, but we can stay alive for a bit with Batterskull and Toski, and they also can't block this because Toski has Indestructible. And my opponent does get to block and regenerate this turn. Bounce Stone. Bounce Stone. What is Stone? Stoneforge Mystic. Ah! Yes. A good line for next turn. I will let Athena at least on the balcony for now. Come on. I think she's just bored. They discard 2 cards to the troll. I'm kind of surprised by that. Alright, down to 10, then down to 6. Queller's kind of interesting. So first, let's go Antonize the troll. Attack for 6. They can't block, which is nice. We get to draw a card. That card is Teferi. Sorry, is Breeding Pool. And then we can bounce stone. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Why not Teferi bounce Flare? Grim Flare has hexproof. But yes, removing the Flare from the battlefield would definitely be good if it didn't. I agree. Please, why don't? Why don't? Why don't? I need more. Why don't? Why don't? So go down to 2, but then I think we can take over the game here. Toski! Pretty impressive just to beat this in creature combat. Nobody knows what unfair means. Nobody knows what tempo means. Second expedition map. That's unfair. Alright, we figured out what the most unfair deck in Modern is. Tron. It was Tron all along. We were just too blind to see it. Thank goodness that they can't get Tower and cast Matter Reshaper, though. It's probably mono green. I don't know. It's actually not really. No, it's not clear, of course. And they cracked their map. I think you'll love this picture. I'll take a look. It is mono green. Now we can beat Thragtusk with the Batterskull, Sword of Feast and Famine. Although getting to Mana League something is like this does seem really good. It is cool how people still want me to play the Bant Scarab or the Sultai Scarab God Reclamation deck. Definitely one of my cooler brews. I do appreciate that people still remember the deck. Alright, just gonna pass back. Force of Negation is not the worst draw. Reclamation got banned in Pioneer. Oh no. I guess you can still fire as an invention, Scarab God. It's not as good. We need our opponent's library and cards in hand to be. They can have one good card. Karn the Great Creator is bad for us. Do I think Walker Tribal might be okay again? You mean zombies? Miss my remands. I hope maybe they'll Walking Ballista and I'll get to Mana Leak. I'm going to discard Sylvan Scrying. Is Stoneblade finally to the level of playable I've wanted it to be? I mean, yeah, I think this deck's good. CAC-W. I don't know how this happened. Does my opponent have a tower in their hand? No. No, and the tilt attack, the tilt attack. Awesome, okay. Okay, cool. Everything is fine. I guess I should have just got basic planes. Oh, they've got enough life. It doesn't matter a ton, I think. Is Mana Leak better than Remand now? Yeah, in this like no Uro, very heavily dominated Monastery Swift Spear metagame, I think so. I think I'm just putting the sword on the Germ token. Maybe it's better to put it on the Ice-Fang. Probably doesn't matter a ton. What do I think the vampire tribal archetype is missing to be a force in modern? Playable cards. They discarded Karn Liberated to the Sword of Feast and Famine, so they are not out of gas. Probably can't beat them discarding Karn Liberated. We'll see. No, Thragtusk is new again, or is good again. Just like again, Swift Spear best deck. Prepare your list for Swift Spear decks. Yeah. There's a lot of cards here we can't beat. I mean, we could beat like another Karn, but there had to have been like 3 Karn Liberateds, which is bad for us. Tank. Cast Ugin. Tank. Okay, we can beat that. Again, the key here was to complain. Their hand has to be more Karn Liberateds, right? It basically can't be anything else. So I think we send Ice-Fang at Karn Liberated, Germs Token at them, and pass. Thank goodness that they just threw away their Thragtusk. Yeah, their hand just had to be 3 Karn Liberateds if they discarded 1. What is... No? They just mistapped. Wormcoil. Huh. So we can like continuously block and bounce. They're not dead to... They're not dead to me equipping here, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, not quite. But yeah, we can block with the Wormcoil with... Yeah, we can kill them next turn if they don't top deck something big. Oh, we can just kill them this turn. Woo! I did not think we were going to win this game. My opponent definitely punted. Opponent said, really? Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I top decked well. I don't know. It's just funny. I like Ashiok on the play in this matchup, not on the draw. I think just Teferi's for Wormcoil is enough. We also have Brazen Borrower. I don't think we need Unthanice. I mean, I had a lot of outs to the Wormcoil there. Easy keep. Not like the best hand we could possibly have, just is an easy keep. Hierarch would be the best draw to go turn. I guess we can't. Sorry, never mind. Hierarch would still be a good draw, but doesn't let us actually do anything that much faster. We'll love to see Forest Sylvan Scrying from our opponent. Would be very interested in seeing Forest Sylvan Scrying here. I said this when I was sideboarding, but I think Ashiok is good on the play. On the draw, I think it's too slow. And I think that if we didn't have Hierarchs, I probably wouldn't play it at all. Teferi seems weak in general. I mean, it's a blue card for Force, which Untonice isn't. Blast Zone. So they probably just end up main phasing this activation. That gives us a window to go Ice-Fang, plus find a counterspell or find another Damping Sphere. Urza's Tower was the land played. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Maybe I should just untap because they might respond to my fetch, I guess. I'm pretty happy if they let me put it in the Batterskull. Might even say really happy. Why no sack Blast Zone? They have like Nature's Claim or something. How I found Queller. Queller's okay right now. It's medium. Better than it was when Uro was around. And like I think you need to play creatures for Toski that cost 3 mana, so they did have or something. But they can't sack the Blast Zone this turn. Interesting. So we can go why no Tails In? So Tails In I think lost a lot of stock where it was really good against the 4-color Uro decks that somewhat exist or not very popular. But the card is like much worse in the blue matchups now that it's not just all about tapping out for a Planeswalker. Oh, I was supposed to... I guess it doesn't really matter. I was probably supposed to play Hierarch first. It doesn't matter because we can't Queller plus Mana Leak because there's Damping Sphere in play. But we should have, yeah. And there's Tron. I mean, I guess it might matter if they sack now. Yeah, I should have played the Hierarch pre-combat. Yeah, Sphere is symmetrical, but I didn't actually cast the sword I put into play from my hand. We also missed a point of damage, too. Do we Queller this? It's probably fine to Queller this, right? Did the Spirit Guide ban Herd Through the Breach? I didn't play Spirit Guide in Through the Breach. I also didn't play Mystic Sanctuary. I played the boil-proof mana base. Yeah, I really wanted to play the Queller here so I could have a 3-mana creature that doesn't die to Blast Zone here. Do they just not have payoffs? I mean, they've got 2 cards in their hand. They had to discard this to the Sword of Feast and Famine. They have to discard another card here. Just going to attack with the Queller so they can't save 1 point of damage by sacking the Blast Zone. Hopefully that 1 point doesn't matter. Yeah, I should have activated Feast and Famine first because of Dismember. That's a good point. They discard another card in the Great Creator, which would have been a spell we could have quellered. So it means they have another payoff in their hand that Mana Leak might not hit if they draw a land. I guess they have 10 mana, so we can Mana Leak Ugin if they don't draw a land. We can't mana leak Karn, but we probably are beating Karn. We're probably beating Wormcoil. We might even beat Ulamog. We might not. We beat All's Dust. Maybe get another really in the chat. They have one card in their hand. They haven't conceded. So if we draw an untapped land, which is every single land in our deck, we can equip, and hold up Mana Leak. So we equip sort of Feast and Famine first to play around Dismember. I'm just going to go for the kill. I'm not going to... You know, they have one card. It now has to be Wilt or Nature's Claim. And then they have to top deck something to get out of this. And it's not like Mana Leak is stopping many things anyways. Alright, 2-1. 7-1 on the day with Squirrelblade. Because we still, like, that's only really relevant if they have another spell. We could just Mana Leak the other spell. I guess I'm keeping this. Zach, thank you for your 12-month resubscription. Love you, buddy. Hope you're having a good day today. Sounds actually pretty good on the play. If you leaked, I could still Queller. I could cast both. I could cast both. But I just want to. Yeah, I don't really see the point in mana leaking the All's Dust when we just still have the mana leak up, because they would just pay if they have nothing. If they have something else, again, if they have something else, we would just mana leak that. If they pay, they can't cast as much on your turn. I guess that's fair. But it'd have to be like exactly Wilt. Grixis Shadow. I hope that we get to hang out at some point this year, Zach. That would be awesome. Really nice that Inquisition can't hit Toski. We get to cast the Ice-Fang in response. Back up Toski in case of Thoughtseize. Grixis Shadow does play some amount of Dismembers, which can answer our squirrely friend, but really, really good. Shearing 5 months in a row. We're having a good day today. Appreciate ya. They do have an Angler, though, and because we played this Fountain on turn 1, we can't threaten Death Touch next turn. I think I'm not attacking, mostly because they're a shadow deck, of course. Yeah, drawing anything, like a Teferi, Time Raveler into the game, Ice-Fang would have been really good, Ice would have been really good, Stoneforge would have been fine. We're still doing okay, I think, but I did feel like we had some draws that may have just effectively ended the game that we didn't draw. Or just anything to play would have been nice. Do I rent or buy cards? I rent. I use Mana Traders, and I'd recommend them. They do have Dismember, but we do have a second Toski. So do they have Snapcaster or another Dismember? Or Thoughtseize. Cling to Dust, exiling Misty Rainforest. Cycling Street Wraith down to 2 life. Casting Shadow. Well, Dismember has to be cast for 3 mana. We do lose to Dismember if we don't draw exactly Ice. But Toski can block here. We can take 5 more. We also lose to Lightning Bolt or Temur Battle Rage if we don't draw Ice. This is how games go against discard spells. Good luck, Ruler. They could also just like attack with both, and we could kill them on the backswing. They have double Dismember. Yikes! Someone is prepared for the Toski metagame, I guess. Someone is prepared for the Toski metagame. We do have a lot of good cards in this matchup. We have Paths, Veil of Summers, Auriok Champions, and Elder Gargaroth. Not a big fan of Remand. Maybe play 3 copies of Mana Leak. Jace is good. Teferi's great. Could see cutting Stoneforge 4 and Sword of Fire and Ice. I think I'm going to keep in all the Toskis. I'll also cut the Quellers. Queller's pretty bad. Although 3 Force of Negation feels like a few too many. So we can play the first Queller. I know it says that there are... This is a graphical bug where you try to remove a card and it stays. It should be removed. I'll keep it in 1 Queller and play 2 Force. I think 2 is the number of Force I want. No, I don't like EE against Shadow when we're on Anthonice. I'm not a big fan of it anyways because it only kills Shadow and doesn't kill Angler. I think some amount of Force to like protect specifically Stoneforge Mystic is good. It also can like counter Dismember on Toski. No, I don't think... I mean, we have more 1-drops in our deck than our opponent does, and Explosives also only kill Shadow in this matchup. So again, not a proponent of it, I think. Well, I'm going to keep this hand. Obviously, if Hierarch lives and we don't draw a blue source, this hand is shaky. But I think we still keep against Shadow. And Castle Ardenvale can also be really powerful in this matchup. We did draw the blue source. I guess I don't want to jam Teferi into Stub or Dispute necessarily. Is EE for something special? It's mostly for Hammer Time, but I also like it against Red Black Scourge. So those would be the 2 main matchups. Why play EE? Well, for Scourge, the Scourge deck and the Hammer Time deck mostly. Comes in other matchups too. Just not for specifically Grixis Shadow that plays Gurmag Angler. So I kind of like just playing Teferi here. Just the fact that it doesn't get Stubborn Denialed is a big deal. They can have Dispute, but it doesn't get drowned or stubbed. And if they have Dispute, good for them. I'm also fine with double Stubborn Denial on Teferi. Extra okay with this. I could bounce the Queller to play around Eliminate, but I think with the sort of Feast and Famine in my hand, I just would rather plus. Do I think the Dragon deck will get better with the command? I don't know, maybe. There's obviously some synergy with the Treasure Token. I'm not super high on the blue-red command, though. I think the card is very medium. And it'll definitely depend on how good destroying an artifact and dealing 2 damage is. But yeah, the Treasure Token is nice in the deck. I'm not thrilled about the loot effects. And that card still has to compete with Archmage's Charming Kolaghan's command for that kind of effect. Kind of competes with Shark Typhoon too. Wait, is Hammer Time more than meme? Hammer Time is a good deck in Modern, yeah. I kind of expected it to be a little more popular than it is right now, but I think that the very good Hammer Time decks are probably cleaning up house right now. While, the deck definitely has a learning curve, but the expert Hammer Time players are, I'm sure, a force to be reckoned with. I don't think I'm going to play around a removal spell, because I guess, sorry, I told the punchline to the joke a bit too early there. I think Hammer Time just can't get past its reputation as a meme. I think most people who have played against the deck know that it's not a meme. I'm not sure. Don't know about that one, Chief. Yeah, I think that if you've played against the deck a bunch, you probably know that the deck is pretty good. It's very consistent and powerful. And can be incredibly grindy because it has access to Luris. I think I'm plussing here and using the Anthonice now. This is a bit better against discard spells, which are some of the few spells my opponent, or meaningful spells my opponent can cast. They discarded Stubborn Denial to Sword of Feast and Famine. Desperation Street Wraith. Is the blue-red command good in blue-red dragons and Pioneer? Yeah, maybe. The loot being good with Dig Through Time, I think, is very relevant. / Treasure Cruise. It's a lower power level card for a lower power level format. All right, game 3. Let's resubmit. I do think this matchup's good. Can definitely lose to it though. Just like 6 1-mana white removal spells plus Auriok Champion plus Veil of Summer plus Toski plus Teferi. Just all these cards are so good in the matchup. I can actually see keeping this on the draw. We're on the draw is the big deal. We do have a Snow Dual land we can get to turn on Omphanize early. Ice-Fang is great. Mulliganing against the discard spell is bad. We just need to draw 1 land in the top 2, maybe top 3 for this hand to be good. I think we keep on the draw against Grixis Shadow. What are my thoughts on the new Mardu Stoneblade lists that are popping up? I haven't seen them. What's the big payoff between being Mardu? Could Balustrade Spy alongside something like Lantern Crypt be a hilarious form of hate against Oops or Belcher? Probably like a little bit too slow. Probably a bit too slow. It's like having a 4 or a 3 or a 4-mana hate piece against a deck that's trying to kill you on turn 3 is sus. So that they don't have the ability to Angler on turn 2. Yeah, they're 1 card short here. I'm a bit worried about Mystical Dispute on Ice-Fang. I mean, but they know I have this Omphanize, so they probably want to dispute that, but then we can just Veil of Summer and win the game. They're just never going to miss a land drop. I was also supposed to play Castle. Oops. I cast Stubborn Denial, targeting Omphanize. Not so fast. My village's ancient technique. Veil of Summer. Going to attack against the Shadow deck? Like, no. A little scared of Dismember, I guess. We're streets ahead, though. We have a backup Toski. We're kind of flooding out. Am I allowed to say that when I keep a 1-lander? Probably not. Probably not legally allowed to say that. Yeah, they had 2 Dismembers in game 1. Do they have 2 Dismembers again? I'll let Athena back inside. I think she's just bored. They do have a Dismember. Wow. Obviously should have saved my Veil of Summer. Rude. At least they're not naming Squirrel, I guess. Just mono answers to Toski Tribal over there. They did name Squirrel. Thank goodness I have this path. They knew about the path, so I'm not sure how I feel about naming Squirrel here. Is a Squirrel a dream or a meme? Squirrel is great. Squirrel is very, very good. Squirrel is so good that I wanted to play 4, but decided the first Jace was a bit better, so I could have Outs to Infinite Life against Heliod, but like heavily considered playing 4. It's been so good. Opponent has a Shadow as bait. I mean, Shadow doesn't matter that much here, I think. Is Grixis Shadow competitive? I think that Rakdos is better. I think Rakdos is better. But I could be wrong. This is obviously not like An archetype I play a ton of. So I mean, my opponent doesn't have another Dismember, right? They would have already killed my Toski. Well, opponent, huge punt. Massive punt. Giving me a draw step for no reason. Yeah, the castle has also been pretty good. I was kind of thinking that it was too greedy to play a castle, but our mana requirements are just not that stringent, so I think we can afford to play it. I think this is worth forcing. It's not like Force is getting too much better, right? I might not be supposed to be holding a Mana Leak and cast Sword instead. I don't know. Casting Sword doesn't seem that good. But there's not like a ton we could Mana Leak. Yeah, so I mean they can't have Dismember. So they can't cast Dismember for 1 mana to play around Mana Leak, because we have Mana Leak and they only have 3 life. So we should be able to play and equip. We also, I mean, this is also 1 mana win the game here. But I don't think that there's anything my opponent can have with just 1 card. At least nothing I can think of. Oh, Piracy Charm. Piracy Charm would have done it before I drew the Omtanice. Yeah, Stream Decker just sometimes doesn't work. Opponent fetching and shocking, going out on their own terms. We're 8-1 on the day with Squirrelblade. Feeling pretty good. What was this loss? I can't remember. Easy keep. Has 22 land felt low? No, I flood out all the time, honestly. We're 22 land with 4 Hierarch. I think it's a good number. We could maybe play Moorland Haunt as the 23rd land. I'm not sure about that. I'll keep this. Put back Toski 2. Pretty medium hand. Yeah, the flying is good too. Is this Grixis Shadow again? Untapped Blood Crypt. Yeah, the flying is a big deal. I don't want to undercount that. I think it would be worth testing. I don't know if anybody wants to help me out. Oh boy, opponent. They did keep 6. 6 card. 6 card, 1 lander with Street Wraith on the play. A little dicey. But I'm just one guy. I can't test everything. Is Jun Shadow. Jun Shadow I think is even better for us than Grixis Shadow. I think I'm remanding this. My opponent's like pretty light on lands, so if they just play Goyf next turn and we draw a land in our next 3 draws, we can Queller, then Toski hit them, draw a card off Queller. With Force Up potentially if they do have a land. Whoops. I was trying to just Queller main phase because I was just thinking a step ahead. So we missed on 2 looks on lands here. If we hit on our very next look on a land, it can Toski hit them with Queller. We're just streets and streets ahead. I think we Queller this. Yeah, this whole deck other than Toski. Toski's still not very expensive. I've been singing the truth of Toski for a while though, so we'll see if that changes. I don't think I'm forcing this. I know that this means that they get to play their land this turn, but they don't play basic mountain usually, and they just get a forest and don't play their land. They didn't play their land that turn. Whatever. I cast Toski. With double Force of Negation up. It's above average. I ordered a playset of the showcase Toskis, but then they came and one of them was a normal Toski, so I guess I have 5 Toskis now because I ordered another showcase. They sent me the wrong one. And I opened my envelopes all at the same time, and I just kind of like tossed them in the trash without really realizing. So I don't even know. I'm not going to ask for a refund because they came from different sellers. So I don't know who to talk to. I guess we play Hierarch, hold up Queller with Force Up. You opened a showcase Toski in the bundle. Very cute. Yeah, very, very cool art. Use the 5th for a commander deck. Toski commander would be cool. Oh, Zach, I told you I finished my Sea Monster EDH deck, right? I'm sure you'd be proud of it. That's the forest they tutored up. I guess I'll Queller this. Yeah, they don't have Revolt, so we should be able to not lose to anything, which is nice. Oh, they get to gain life off of the block. It's kind of funny. Because Toski has to attack, so they're only going to 6 here, but we're getting to draw 2 cards. Play 2 Ice-Fangs. Yeah, definitely Zach. One of these years. Try to find a land. Maybe a blue card is fine too. Alright, now I'll just hold up mana. Can't really just block Goyf if they attack with it because they get to replay it off of Lurrus. Maybe that's still a fine block. I'm not sure. Uses up 2 of their mana. Well, now I'll just very easily block Lurrus. Not really fearing anything here. So we get to draw 4 cards, deal them 7 damage. So they can get a shadow and play it. Yeah, I'm not really worried about their last card being Fatal Push, since... I mean, I guess they could get another shadow and play, but it's kind of the same thing. Hell yeah, Tyler, I'm definitely down. Would love to hang out again. And this is a matchup where I like the explosives, because it actually is good against all their threats. And I'm lower on Force of Negation, because they don't have stubs. I think I'm cutting the Queller. I do think Queller is the worst card. Might cut the Jace, might not. Cut the Remand. Cut the 4th League. Oh, we should probably go, yeah, down 1 Stoneforge, down 1 Sword, play 2 Force. This looks pretty good. Maybe Force is just not that good against them, but the main way they beat you is like fast draws or with Team or Battle Rage, and like Force is a hedge against those seems fine. Especially with just so much card advantage in our deck. Like Force protecting Ice-Fang, protecting Stoneforge. All seems pretty good. The Jace doesn't seem that bad though. Maybe on the play I'll bring it back in. What do I think it would take Phoenix to return to Modern? I mean, something, an enabler for it. You know, a cheap enabler that's playable. I think we all know that, and I think that it's definitely possible for a cheap, an instant or sorcery that's 1 mana, that's not Faithful Suiting, that's not Careful Study. I've been kind of thinking about 1 mana, draw a card, discard a card in blue, flashback for 2 colorless and a red. I think that maybe that effect would be reasonable. Guess what's in my hand, opponent? That feels targeted at the new command. Not really. I mean, that card is not going to make Blue-Red Phoenix playable again. Opponent no fear of Veil of Summer. Oh no, this is sorry, I have a second planes. This fetching here is like pretty bad against Scourge though. I just like had already mapped out in my head I was gonna cast the Anthonice off of the Flooded Strand, and I drew like the one card that should have maybe just play the planes because they do play Scourge, I think. If Faithless Wing was discard 2, draw 2, would it be playable? It would be banned because it would make Dredge way too good. Do I draw a card? I'm not sure. Oh, definitely bouncing Shadow now. Guzma. I'm not sure what that card is. Flounce. Kind of just sounds like a dirty word, honestly. But it's some spicy tech per channel point redemption purposes. Any chance we die to Team or Battle Rage if we Toski? Not like a very high chance. Bloodbraid Elf was not a card I was expecting. Hit a Fatal Push. They did not hit a Fatal Push. So we get the block here, Petty Theft this Borrower, draw a card, and play Ice-Fang. Doing okay. That was a great draw. Toski. Probably Petty Theft the Shadow now to play around Veil of Summer. What a draw. Am I still Petty Thefting? Just Anthonice. Is there a specific reason I play the Borrower over the fourth Queller, or did it stay in the list after the Tipple meta? I just kind of want access to the first Borrower, honestly. And 4 Quellers felt like too many. The card is just not that great in a lot of matchups, but it's still like I think a necessary card to play in this archetype. I don't even think I'm blocking Bloodbraid Elf with Ice-Fang. Just kind of want to draw cards with it. Maybe that's too greedy. Isn't explosives with Anthonice kind of awkward? Yeah, it is. And you don't necessarily have to be on it, but it hasn't been really a big deal. Especially if you're mindful of it, you know? I think I'll just discard Misty, keep my life total nice and high. Can't get a sword on that right now. Alright, need I say more? Need I say more? Toski's just so good. It's crazy. So good. Yes, there are some cards in the format that answer it, but boy, is it amazing. Ooh, there's a Geist of St. Traft. Did I